Hey friends, welcome to Grey Roots. We are a little bit punchy here. It tis the season. Yeah, it just finished up Thanksgiving and now we are steam barreling into Christmas. So hope you guys are all doing well. Hope everyone was able to take a brief pause and kind of make some small deposits for themselves so that they could enjoy some of the family and relationships and all that stuff. I am here with co-host Carrie Oakley Miller and Kathy Eggers. How you doing, ladies?
Hey, we're
Woot
here.
woot! We're here.
Hello.
We're here. So,
Staying warm.
yep. Today we are going to
Cold.
talk about, and it's kind of a little bit geared toward mothers-in-law, but I think the daughters-in-law can take a lot out of this too. But this episode is called Passing the Baton, and it is all about kind of how generationally we really need to kind of be passing the baton for lots of different reasons. We need to pass the baton because once our family of origin moves on to their own family, they need to be doing their own thing. And I think it's important to pass the baton for heritage, right? I mean, I know, Christmas is coming. I don't know if y'all have heard Kathy's story about the boxes that they do at Christmas. If you haven't, go back and listen to last year's Christmas episodes, but it's a super cool thing that she has continued to tradition that she's continued to carry down with her as she was raising her kids. So I think if we just kind of, if we don't pass down and kind of give that access and permission to our daughters in law, why would they want to pass any of that down? And, I think you're kind of on both ends. If the mother in law is holding on tight to the baton, your daughters in law are not going to want to really pass down any of those traditions. Why would they want to, right? If you're kind of lording over that position. And also, you're kind of hurting your grandkids if they choose to have kids, because I know some of the things that I love about the holidays were actually from my grandmas, not necessarily from my mom. So just
Mm.
something to think about as we dig in here. And y'all know we're kind of in the messy middle. We have, we've been a mother, we've been a daughter-in-law, and now we are mother-in-laws, mothers-in-law. So let's talk about what does it mean to pass the baton from one generation to the next? Like when I say that, what do you guys think? What comes to
So
mind?
last night, Jeff and I were watching the Downton Abbey final movie. Are either of you Downton Abbey fans?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, love that series. And it went on for about 15 years. And so in this movie, and there's a scene where the dad who has taken on this manor from his family and his, grandfather and his grandfather. In one of the final scenes, the dad and the mom are turning the home over to the daughter. And someone says, "Well, are you going to still live in the home?" And they're like, "No, we're going to go so that she can take her place rightfully here as the one running this manor now." So anyway, so the final scene is them literally walking away to their new home where they're going to go and live out. They've given all their life to Downton, to this family, to everything, but now was their time to go and be excited. And so the final scene, they show all these people in their homes and the ways they're connecting, whether it's playing cards, while it's reading
Mm.
books, while it was
Wow.
telling stories. And it was so lovely to see. But it was that passing of the baton and then how it carries on. You now see Mary, who's reading to her children, her son, who will then take it over one day and she'll pass the baton to him. Anyway, it was just kind of a beautiful
Mhm.
way to think about it. And I know that's not probably real life and the baton's not getting passed
Mm.
down and no one's giving us a castle to care for, but it was a lovely visual of seeing this mom and dad say, "No, no, we're not gonna stay. It's our time to go." And
Mm.
that's the part that I thought is so relevant for this episode. It is our time
Yes.
to go, not to despair or to be distraught, but to new exciting things. And hopefully that includes your adult children and their children, but also just for you to go and do that as you pass the baton. Anyway.
So I have a I haven't seen the movie. Was there a period of time where they all lived together and they maybe, and this might just be kind of playing on the same visual you're giving of the parents and then the kids all living in this house together and then showing them like, okay, here's how this house runs, here's what you do here, and like kind of a showing, and then now they're equipped to do that and to take care of it, and now they can go. So I'm wondering if there's a period of time where as mother-in-laws as we can go like you did for Christmas and the recipes. here's what we use for here's what we cook, you know, here's what this family does, or here's what we the traditions we do, and then and then letting them go and not letting and then going and doing whatever they want to do. So I'm going to show you kind of what we do and how what we cook, and then let them pick and choose.
I
Does that
mean,
make sense?
it does. Sure. I mean, did that happen in this show? If you've watched Downton Abbey, sure, they did have a time. It wasn't I'm going to teach you because for a long time it wasn't thought that the home would be passed, the estate would be passed to like he didn't have a son, so it would have to go to a son.
Mm,
So
mm,
no, she wasn't raised up in the I'm going to raise you up and you're going to care for the castle. They just raised her up.
mm.
And because they raised her up, she was a strong woman. She was a leader. She was capable. So, yes, I think it happened just because they were parents who were invested in their children and so they raised up these strong women. And I hope that's what we're all doing. We're raising up strong men and strong women so that they can go. I mean, I think it is our role, but
Uh,
it is for them to go, not raise them up so then we can have this creepy relationship as they're adults. Send them off and celebrate that.
yeah, I feel like that's key. Do we see them as capable? Are we raising them as capable to be capable adults? You know, I think we've talked about that before, but
Well, I think if we're
can
raising them to we expect them to be capable adults at 23 or whenever they leave the house, I think that's unrealistic. When did you become a capable adult? It was well
eh,
after 23 for me,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I think partly we're raising them up so that they're capable of making their own mistakes. That's
mm,
what's gonna
yeah,
happen.
good. Yep, yep, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah, that's a good point. The mistakes. I think that's kind of where as mothers-in-law we get stuck because we're like, "Listen, we can help fix that for you so you don't make any mistakes because we've already made them."
Yeah.
But nobody really wants to be told what to do because it comes across as criticism. We talked about that. So, what does letting go look like? What does it look like emotionally? What does it look like boundary-wise? How can the younger generation glean wisdom from us without us kind of shoving it down their throat? What is how does all that work? What does it look like when it's being done well?
I don't know if this was done well, but I had this vision of as, you know, these daughter-in-laws are coming out, and this younger generation is trying to figure out how to feed themselves. What do we eat? How do we eat healthy? So some of them were coming to me asking me that. And I was like, well, how can we provide this space to actually teach and tangibly work together? And so that's what Clarity Kitchen started as. Those cooking classes that I have in my kitchen was for them. And Lauren and Izzy did come for a first couple times, and then some of it was, you know, my older friends, and I don't know if they just don't come anymore, and that's fine. But that was my initial vision was this next generation and those girls, let's come on in, let's cook, let's, you know,
Yeah.
what are you struggling with, or where's your, you know, where do you want to know, or, you know, and they were open for that and they came and it was so much fun. But then also for me to just pay attention to what actually they're needing and wanting. It's not me wanting to teach them something, it's
Yeah.
them wanting to learn. So as long as they're in a space of learning, I'm here, I'm here.
Yeah.
But that it stops there. As long as they stop being in a place of learning, I'm not going to push. It's not pushing. It's being open to be in a space for them to come and
Mhm.
learn. So
So
anyway,
then
that was really fun.
and I think the kitchen is a great place to kind of
Mhm.
use as an analogy and in real life. I mean, our daughters-in-law may not cook the same as we and in fact, they probably don't. Very rarely do 2 people come together and what their mothers or families made for food was the exact same thing. Like, "Oh my gosh, my mom used to do that too." It seems like it usually ends up like 2 completely opposite type of things. So the kitchen, like I love Carrie, I want you to talk a little bit more about traditions with not just with Clarity Kitchen, but kind of the idea behind that. I think there are definitely some traditions and arts of things, if you will, that the younger generation maybe doesn't know or wants to learn that the older
Mhm.
generation can teach them.
For sure. I mean, especially in the kitchen. And I feel like this younger generation, at least some of the ones that I've talked to, want to go back to some of the old ways of doing things like
Yeah,
canning,
canning. That's
making your own pie
specifically.
crust,
Yeah.
making your own pizza crust. You know, like they're really kind of interested in wanting to do that. Gardening, like
Growing
how do
on
I
herbs.
dry my herbs? Yeah. And so one year I did grow a bunch of herbs and I ground them all up and made Italian seasoning and gave it to each one of them. And that was such a small little thing, but everyone commented on that. And then so I'm like, okay, here's how you can do that. You
Yeah.
can do that. It's not just this far out thing. Here's how you can do that. So that's been really fun to watch each of them in a different way step into those spaces.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, how do you make your own yogurt? A couple of them came and here's what you need to do. And here's you take this home and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, the kitchen's been a really fun place for that. And to see them want that information, they're going to be feeding my grandkids maybe, and, my sons, and
Yeah.
taking care of that nutrition part of their new family, and so being able to support them has been really fun.
Are there any, and we can think about holidays, but broaden that, doesn't have to be dialed into that. Are there any, let's say, like, kitchen traditions or, that maybe your mothers or mothers-in-law or even grandmas have passed down to you that you have learned to do because of them? Like, one thing that my grandma taught me, and this is kind of what this kind of speaks to the kind of food I had when I was growing up. It wasn't casseroles, but, like, she taught me how to make a leg of lamb roast.
Yum.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But,
and she
Yes.
like,
didn't even have an Instapot.
no Instant Pot whatsoever, right? Just an oven and a stove. But, every time I make lamb, I think about my grandma. I'm like, "Oh, that's right." She said, "Make sure, you always make sure you sear the meat first. You always, all the aromatics," and just the way that she did that. And, that wasn't holiday specific per se, but, it was definitely a traditional thing that she did that she passed down to me that now I enjoy doing. Do you guys have any, that? I know my mom taught me how to can, like, when I was early 20s, anything
Yeah,
Mm.
like
I mean,
that,
that's that for me. My grandma Kramer, my mom's mom, she canned, and then and we've talked about this before, where canning is that, and so it's really fun to be in the kitchen with, my future daughter-in-laws, and, teaching them to can too. So hopefully it won't be such this scary unknown thing. It's like, "No, no, you can actually do this," and then maybe they'll carry it on too if they choose.
Kathy still needs to learn to can. So,
Kathy!
I know I don't
Canning
know
at
how to can.
Kathy's.
It's so
Yeah,
fun.
I don't know how to can, but I grew up with that, right? All my aunts and grandmother did that, but I never did. I think the one for me, for my kids, they would say is their honey, and that honey made the cutout Christmas cookies, with the royal icing, and she would make them this huge container every year and bring it to them. A couple of times made it with them, but mostly she made them. She loved making them and giving them to the kids. But my kids have her cookie cutters now at their dad's house, and they make
Oh,
That's
cookies
awesome.
with her cookie cutters now, and I love
oh,
that.
I love that.
I
That's
think
very
that's a
cool.
great
Very cool.
great passing down.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure. So let's talk about what some healthy boundaries are as far as when we're passing down the baton for either actual things or an analogy, kind of passing on that role. I think that's the biggest thing that we hear from the daughters in law is that, like, boundaries just get rolled over and crossed. They set the boundaries, and then the mother in law is like, well, that's cute. Not gonna do that. That's cute that she wants that, but that's not how that's gonna be, right? Which, when we're having a choice on decisions, obviously that's not the healthy thing to do. So, I think respecting boundaries of the daughter-in-law while you're handing that baton down can be a very delicate dance.
absolutely.
Do y'all have any
Yeah.
stories of maybe trying to pass down a baton where maybe it just didn't go like you thought it was going to go? Like, maybe lines were crossed. They thought it was one thing. You thought you were doing another. Any experiences like that that
Hmm.
y'all have had? Big fat no. Okay.
That's
I
No,
am
hard
that's,
to
paying
think of.
attention, but I
Yeah.
just can't think of one. That's a hard one.
yeah.
Do
I
you
think
have
this
one?
idea of passing the baton is it's so big. Like it's boundaries, it's traditions, it's time at holidays. It's, like we can say, here's what I did, or here's what here's what we did as a family. And now
Right.
you can choose, giving it to you. I ran track, I have that visual. You pass it and you let go. You have to
Yes.
let go. You don't run you don't both get a hold of the baton.
Ooh, that's a good way to say it. And I
Nope.
think, so many comments we see on our Instagram, we have moms saying, young moms going, my mother in law sucks. So I am already preparing to be the best mother in law
Mhm.
ever. So it makes me think part of that preparation, if you're listening to this and you are the, daughter in law and you're like, I'm not going to be like that. How do you prepare? So right now, we want to tell you, start preparing to pass the baton. when it's your turn. Like, go ahead and start now as a young mom thinking that you're going to get rid of, pass on, move
Mhm.
on, let them go. But I think it is even something that you're preparing for and practicing well before they go. I think it's that goes back to that mentality of you've got to have that positive mentality of, again, this is what motherhood is. It is preparing them to go and soar. And I think so many women don't even think that as they're raising kids. It's all about this, which I get because I did it too. But I
Mhm.
do think you can prepare your heart for passing the baton well before baton is passed. And
Yeah.
on the flip side, I think women who, haven't passed the baton yet, even though they should have 10 years ago, it's not too late. I think you still
Good
can step
Yeah.
point.
into that.
Good point. Yeah. Whether that's a conversation or just mentally making that shift, like, "Ooh, I really have been guilting them to come for Christmas, and I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm gonna let them make that decision for themselves," right? Like, that could be a small place.
I'm learning so much about this by watching TV. Yesterday, my workout show was I'm going to share my workout show was the Kardashians. And so this is where I learn about, things like the purses we talk about. But anyway, so it was interesting because the mom, Kris Jenner, was talking about the new her, right? We know she's had a physical facelift that's shocking, right? She looks so much younger. But she was so funny on this episode. She just kept saying, but me now. I'm trying to show the kids now a calm Kris, a Kris that's not freaking out, a Kris that is, taking care of things from the inside. And I thought, okay, I don't know how old is Kris Jenner? 65, 70? I don't know how old she is. I'm going to offend her. But I love that she was still learning. Not only was she doing physical work, but she also sounded like she was doing some emotional work, right? And I love that actually. I love that this lady is like, okay, I've got all this stuff, but I still realize I need to grow and I still need to work on being the best version. I think mother-in-laws, you still can. You might have blown it. You might have ruined Christmases. You might have held on tight. You might have called him your baby boy and asked him to sit in your lap. Gross. But it's not too late to change that and to pass that
Mhm.
baton now.
Yeah, and realizing when you pass it, they're gonna maybe wanna come back more, come over more, show up more, invite
Yeah.
you in more when you're letting go.
And I think, Carrie, I think you had a really good point with even just the visual of track and the baton. You have to let go, but I feel like there's an art to letting go gracefully. I mean, it's even with track when you pass it, right? You don't throw it at the other person. Like, take this freaking
Right.
baton. You want it? There it
No,
is.
it is streamlined,
It's
yeah.
streamlined, it happens, it just is, like, smooth and seamless, and I think if that can be our goal to have a smooth, seamless, even though I know there's probably mills out there and they're like, "My daughter-in-law is not seamless about anything," like, this is so that means you have to work on what can be seamless for you, and I believe the more they see us like you were talking about, Kathy, Kris Jenner, of, "Hey, this is I can be calm. I can be gentle. I can be kind." Can I just stop there for and like sit on that one for a minute? Regardless of whether y'all like each other or not, you can be kind. You can choose to be kind. And that just, I'm going to get into it, but choose to be kind. That's a choice on your part. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. And like, well, they
Mhm.
weren't kind to me. Okay, well, what are you two? They weren't kind to me, so I'm not going to be kind to them. Grow up. Get over that. Right? Choose to be kind. All right.
And honestly,
We can move off
daughter-in-laws,
that now.
some of you or the mother-in-laws have to take a deep breath before you come over. You know, it's not all about the
Not us,
daughter-in-laws
though.
having to
Not
take a
us.
deep breath before the mother-in-laws no, 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 no.
Not us.
No, no, I'm just saying, like, it's both
No.
sides.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Work to
and
be done
yeah.
on both sides.
So, Alicia, do you think there needs to be a conversation of this passing the baton? Do you think there needs to be, before the wedding, that's
Uh, yeah, for the wedding
something
for
the mother
sure.
in law invites?
I think that would be yeah. I mean, if we're gonna talk about small deposits, I'd say that would be like a big ginormous deposit, right? If the future mother-in-law invites the daughter-in-law out for tea or a glass of wine or dinner or like whatever it is she's into. How about time on her turf and just say, "Hey, listen, I know I raised a good son. He's not perfect, but I trust his choices and I'm glad to have you in my life. And I want you to know that I am passing the baton with him, right? For starting their own family." What I think that can be a really precious, sweet start to a mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship, you know? This was a while ago, but I remember listening to, it was a Dave Ramsey something, and he was talking about his youngest daughter and how, they always had this rope, right? And or always told them like, "Listen, I'm giving you enough rope to have freedom, but not so much that you get yourself in trouble," right? And then when they moved off to college, he had this big rope that he did for his daughter with like all different things tied around the rope of core values of their family, and it was all
Mm,
done up with a bow, and he said it was a passing of the baton. He's like, "Here's your rope. You're ready to have the whole thing now." And I think that's
Yeah.
just like that can yeah, I think that could be a really, really special moment for, good start, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, and
mhm,
set the groundwork, right? My intention is not to hurt you, hurt your feelings, run your life. That's not my intention. Will things come out that way sometimes? Probably because I'm not perfect and I like to control things too. I'm working on myself. Like just get that out that like none of us are perfect. Sometimes I think that we make a wrong move or wrong whatever, wrong word, and that's like, "Oh, you know what? Done with her." Now, it's probably more than one. I know Lauren says that the girls that she deals, that she sees are it's usually, continual. And maybe that's just the social media that I see out there. It just seems like it's just like so just savage. Am I the only one? It could be
Oh,
just me
no.
because of
I
my
see
no,
some
boys.
savage.
yeah,
It feels a little savage to me.
mhm,
But I think, the mothers-in-law can you could choose to start off on a good foot. Now, what if you're already in there? I think like Hattie like, it's not too late to say, "Hey, you know what? Come on out to dinner. We never really formally did this, but I want you to know that this baton is yours, and
mhm.
you've been doing a great job. You've been, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, even if she actually gets, her kids have been married for 10 years and
Yeah,
she's knows she's messing it up. Go get a baton actually, and I think that's such a great idea visual of
yeah,
I've messed it up here and now I'm gonna work to give it to you. I'm letting go.
yeah.
Here you go. Yeah, it's not too late. I'm actually gonna do that, you guys. I have 2 daughter-in-laws coming up
I
next
know,
year.
I
I'm
love
doing
that.
that.
I
It's
love
such a
it.
great
Do
idea.
it.
Love it.
I can't wait to
Hey,
hear all about it.
can you video it so we can watch it? Can you video
Okay,
it?
I will.
It'd be so fun.
Yes.
That would
Well,
be
they're
so
gonna come on
fun.
the podcast, so they'll get to talk.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep, yep, we have them coming up, next season, which
Mhm,
is not gonna be too far from now. So, closing thoughts. Passing the baton is not about stepping beside. It's about moving forward together, just in a different rhythm. You're
Yeah.
not just kinda like, "Oh, I'm moving out of you're never gonna see me again." It's about transitioning that role of support, and I'm here if you need me, right? But now
mm,
you get to
Again,
take the main role.
back to my little Downton Abbey analogy, that's exactly what the dad said. He said, because there were neighbors and to neighbors who've been there for us and come to visit, we hope to welcome you here in our new
mm,
place, in our new role, in our new phase. And I think that's the same with our children. Hey, I'm always going to be here. I'm just in a new role, maybe in a new space, because they've moved out, but the relationship is still there
Yep,
whenever you need it. So,
definitely.
I love
yeah,
that.
I like
That
that.
was a good visual.
Yeah, and my door is open. It's not, "I'm coming to knock on
Yes.
your door, I'm coming over there." It's, "My door is open for you."
And I do
I
think
like that.
I do think our kids sometimes expect us to be the ones to reach out. So I think that's a dance, a balance
Mm,
of how much is
mm.
too much reaching out, how much is enough
Oh,
reaching out.
daily,
I
daily.
struggle with that.
Me
So,
too, me
And you know
too.
what? I want
Yeah.
perspective on that where, they are your parents and they're raising you up and, divorce homes or whatever. It's absolutely the adult, the parent's responsibility to reach out to the child. The child is not responsible to reach out to the parent. However, when we get to this point, we're all adults.
I agree.
I would just encourage all like if that is your thought, like, well, if my mom wants to talk to me, she can reach out to me or whatever. Think of this as the friendship. You don't get to be a
Mhm.
child's friend until you pass that baton. And then
Mm.
once you pass that baton, you can be friends. Okay, you're not going to treat a friend that's like, well, if my friend wants to call me, then I guess I'll pick up. That's not how friendship works. So I would just encourage you if you want to go to that next level and experience the coolness that happens when you can be friends with your parents. Yeah, reach out. Do
Mhm.
things that would initiate a friendship. Do things for
Mhm.
Yeah.
them that you do for your friends, right? I mean, what kind of
Yeah.
crappy friendship would be like? I mean, if Carrie was, like, oh, well, if Carrie wants to talk to me, I guess she could just reach out and I don't know. Is her foot broken? Who knows? I don't know. Something about her foot, but I'm just busy
Yeah.
here doing the, you know,
Stingray.
Now, obviously, when your kids are younger and you have a lot going on, and we all can completely relate to that. But you know what? Maybe that's like a little small deposit. You reach out to your mother-in-law or even your parents if you want to take it there on this episode. Be the one that
Yeah.
reaches out and just says, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
just
I like that.
to see how you're doing."
Mhm. Yeah. Because if
Right?
you
That's
are
my
on
thought
that
on it.
younger generation, for us, just from what we just said, it is in our mind, it is a constant dance between reaching out too much, not reaching out enough. Always. We're always in that space. At least I am. And you just said you were too. Like,
Mhm.
so if you're the younger, just know that if you reach out even one time, it tells us, oh, they do want to hear from us. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. But no, I get it. There's people who are on the other end, and the mother-in-laws are reaching out all the time, and it's in your business all the time. So I get that this is
Right.
not for you. But for the young, just know that I wouldn't say most. Some of us are in that space of that dance, too much or not enough. And so when you
Yeah.
do reach out, it just means a lot. It's like, oh, okay, they do want to hear from me. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
reach out. Or yeah,
And you know what? I would even say for the girls, the young mamas who have mothers-in-law who are like reaching out all the time, all the time, all the time, I almost kind of feel like it's a good analogy with like a little kid that's like always misbehaving. Or they're like, "Mom, mom, 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 Lois, Lois." Right? They're like, "Hey, I'm here." If you maybe do a couple contacts, being a reach out, text back, she might not feel the need to be at it like that all the time. Anyway,
yeah,
just Kathy, you gotta.
Yeah.
I'm watching your face with the kid analogy.
Ah,
I think sometimes kids misbehave because they want the attention, or
no,
they're
I
like,
agree. Yeah.
they don't have anything to say to you until you get on the phone. And then
They want
they're
the
and then
connection.
they what right. They're looking for the connection. And I think I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know the situation. We don't always know all the different sides, but I think for mothers-in-law who are maybe annoyingly reaching out, maybe they just want the
Mhm.
connection. Maybe give them some of that connection and see what happens.
Or if you're my daughter-in-law, just tell me, "Stop calling. Stop calling me."
Yes.
and it's different with all of them. Like my 4 daughter-in-laws, they're all different.
Yeah.
Kayla, we don't talk much, don't reach out. She's busy, she has her own family, whatever reason. And then Scarlett, she's busy too. And since some of them are here, some of them are away, some of them are, it's just a different relationship with different ones and to pay attention to that. So I'm trying to learn, okay, does this one call on the phone? Does she like to talk on the phone? Or does
Right.
she like texting? She's working during the day, so I don't want to reach out when she's working because I don't want to be that annoying mother-in-law. But then, it's just always trying to figure out the right thing to do. And so
Yeah.
passing the baton of expectations, I would think in that area. Maybe that's what that looks like. Passing the baton would be the expectations. Oh, she didn't call me back. She didn't text me back. She didn't, it's so I'm trying to figure out like what does passing the baton mean? Because I think it has so many different meanings in different areas. But maybe in the communication part, it's letting go of expectations and assumptions. Oh, she just doesn't want to talk to me because she didn't text back. Throw it out there. She responds, great. If she doesn't, it's okay. So maybe that can be a passing the baton.
Yeah, I agree. Well, anything else you guys want to shout out?
I think
Jingle bells, Batman
this is a
smells. It's
huge
almost time
one.
for
This is a big
Christmas.
one. Mother-in-laws need to let
Yes.
just, and I love the track. I'm picturing the track, walking around the track, running around the track. Like that mother-in-law passes it and she still runs with you a little bit. They're still running behind and
Yep.
then lets you
Yeah.
go. No, not let you go, but then you go.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
visual.
Awesome.
Makes
Well,
me want to go
thank
run.
thank y'all for listening to us. We appreciate y'all. If you had heard something that was useful, we would love it if you would like and share with somebody who you think we might help listen to our crazy rants at our 50s. So take a breath as you're getting ready for Christmas. Go have some tea or coffee or wine or hot chocolate or whatever. Peace out, and we will see you next
Pass
week.
the baton.
Pass the
Yep.
baton.
Bye.